Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have an Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra, and this is in the wild. We have a WAHL Eversharp Decoband Oversize in the wild. We have an Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra, and this is in the Arco Verde. We have a Scribo 2 in the Noble Green, a Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red, a Scribo 3 in the Bologna Blue. We have a Magna Carta, and this is the Oxford. We have a Magna Carta, and this is the Cambridge Limited Edition. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog, and we have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail here. So this is the Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra, and this is in the wild side, and this is a really interesting material that you can see here. It's a black celluloid with these white, creamy white, almost lightning veins that are running through the body quite frantically. So this is a pen that I do like a lot. It's a pneumatic filling pen, so it does have a little hole there. So you unscrew. I need to be careful because this is inked up, but you unscrew what would be a piston knob, you pull it back, and you put your finger over that hole, and you push that down, and then that creates a suction. Then you let your finger go, and then ink will rush into the body, or the sac, because this does have a latex sac in the body. Now, if I did that now, it would eject ink everywhere, so I'm not going to do that. If I unscrew this, you'll see here it has a number 8 size ASC Magic Flex nib, and these are made by Bock with an ebonite feed. So this is a piston filling pen. Can you post the caps? Most of these you cannot, because this ring sits a little bit more pronounced, and I wouldn't want to force it. So you do have to live with not posting a lot of these ASC Bolognas, but honestly, they are pretty long in your hand anyway. So honestly, why would you want to post those in most cases? The next pen I have here is a WAHL Eversharp, and this is a Decoband Oversize, and I always think, and I don't know if it's just me, but I always hold a pen like this because I'm right-handed, and I always think that the WAHL Eversharp is written the wrong way on these clips. These are for left-handed writers. I guess you can't get it any other way. You could have it the letters spelt running down instead, but I like the shape of these pens, the WAHL Eversharp Decoband Oversize. Again, this is a pneumatic filling pen, so it does have a little hole here. It does have a sac, a latex sac. This really has a beautiful black lightning strike effect pattern going on there. It is celluloid as well, and if I unscrew this nib, it's got ruthenium trims, and it's got a ruthenium plated nib. It's an 18 karat gold nib made by Bock for WAHL Eversharp, and you can see there again ABS feed. Sorry, not an ABS, a ebonite feed. And you'll see here that this nib is very similar to that of the ASC nib, because they are both made, both part of the same pen family company. The next pen here, again, is another ASC Bologna Extra, and this is in the Arco Verde. And I do like these Arco Verdes a lot, and you can see why this material really does shine on camera. I have 4 of these actually, and I have some Arco Browns as well, but I do typically like the Arco Verdes a little bit more now than the Browns. This again is a pneumatic filling pen, just like these two here, and I'm not going to eject that, but this has a number 8 size Magic Flex nib with an ebonite feed. I think, did I say it was this one had an ebonite feed or an ABS? It should be ebonite feed. If I said ABS plastic, I know I won't say ABS plastic on this one. These are ebonite feeds. The pattern you can get to line up, but there's 3 threads, so you just have to get that to match up correctly. But I have that one inked up with me this week as well. I also have these, and I've not written with these for a little while now. These are Scribo 2s. These are John Hall right here pens in the UK, exclusive with Scribo. So these are made by Scribo, and you'll see here it says Scribo there, Italy, and then right here, because it is a right here exclusive pen, and you'll see the right here logo there on the cap as well. And I like these pens. I like that these actually have what are the original Omar style extra flessibile nibs. So this is a medium nib, 14 karat gold. It's a piston filling pen, and I love these to bits. It's very difficult to buy these now because I think most of these Scribo 2s have sold out. I know the Scribo 1, which was in a pearlescent grey, sold out. And then you got this green in the noble green. That's a Scribo 2. I have this one as well, which is the Cardinal Red in the Scribo 2. And again, if I show you here, Scribo Italy, and it's right here. And again, you've got the right here logo laser etched in there as well. So again, this has a 14 karat gold nib on here, and again, it's the extra flex or extra flessibile nibs that Omar's used to be so well known for in the past before they closed the factory. So both of these pens have the Omar's extra flessibile nibs there. It does say Scribo on them, but Scribo did buy the machinery, the tooling, because the owners of Scribo did come from Omar's originally, and they managed to pick up that nib, the tooling for the nibs. So these nibs are pretty much the same as the Omar's extra flessibile nibs. I also have this one here, and this is not a Scribo 2, but a Scribo 3 in the Bologna blue. Again, a lovely chatoyance going on. You'll see here it says, if I can get it to focus there, it does say Scribo Italy. It's very faint. And also right here, again, very faint there as well, but you can just see it. And then you've got the nib etching there. And if I take a look at the nib, you've got the extra flex there again. And this is another medium nib, 14 karat gold nib. You can not really post these caps. I was going to say you can post them, but you can't. They're not designed to do so. But I don't honestly feel the need to post them, and I find that these pens are long enough as they are. I typically don't lose my caps that often. So, and if I'm going to put a pen down, I'm going to put the cap back on. I think in my early days, I did have a couple of accidents where I had a couple of Viscontis I own roll off of the desk because I didn't put the cap back on. And unfortunately, they fell to the floor. Thankfully, it was a carpeted floor and they didn't fall nib first. So the nibs were perfectly fine. But on both occasions, it did give me a bit of a shock. So now I always put the cap on the pen if somebody comes to my desk, or if there's a knock at the door, or a phone call or whatever. I make sure I put the cap on the pen first. Otherwise, it can lead to an expensive mistake. The next pen here is a pen that I purchased in 2021 this year, and I purchased this from Hiran at Magna Carta. Now, if you don't know, Magna Carta is a Indian brand, and I will have a review of this and the other pen here soon, if not already. So this is an Indian brand called Magna Carta. These are really good value pens, and they really, I can't speak highly enough of these. I'm absolutely surprised. I have had Indian pens before, and I have not cared for them, and I think probably that's the way a lot of people in Western countries feel. It's not a slant against India. It's just basically they are a lot of the Indian pens. If you look at a Nuda's pen, it's a vegetable resin. It has this horrible vegetable resin smell to it. They stain very easily, and the nibs are not that great quality. I could go on, but this is a really good work of art. So I'm glad that I was able to buy this from Hiran at Magna Carta Pens, and it's a pen that is made of brass, and it's a 24 karat gold, I believe, plating that is on there. So it really makes this pen sparkle and just look the piece. And it has they started off with Bock nibs. They went to making their own in-house nibs. So this is a medium nib, and you've got the Magna Carta logo there. Magna Carta do put ebonite feeds on their pens now, so it's not ABS plastic feeds. Can I post the cap? No, not really. And again, I wouldn't want to do so. It's a brass pen, solid brass, so it is actually quite heavy. So it's not something that I would want to do with a cap, because it would, if I could post it would make it very, very, very back weighted. Now, the next pen here is again another Magna Carta, and this is the Cambridge in the limited edition. So you can see here Magna Carta there. Now, it does have a little bit of a chunky clip, which honestly I'm not that enamored with. I would prefer a much more streamlined clip, but the reason why they did this was that they wanted to make it spring loaded, and it is very, very springy. You'll see the Magna Carta logo. So this is plated, and again, so this is a brass pen. It's plated with, I believe, 24 karat gold, and then you've got a PVD coating here as well on top to make that a little bit more of a almost like a ruthenium color. And you'll see here again it has the Magna Carta logo. I got this in a broad nib this time. Now these are all cartridge converters, but I like that a lot. The threads are very deep, wide, I should say, and I don't feel those threads at all. And I find in the size of my hand that this is actually quite a good sized pen. I can post that pen if I wanted to, but again, it's not only too long for me, but it's also back weighted as well. So, and I wouldn't want to mar the plating, because you can sometimes do that with some plated pens. But this is a really good pen, and I can't rate the quality versus the price of Magna Carta. They really are looking at some great pens there. When I picked these up, they were $200 US, and if you think you could get a very basic resin pen for about $200, most custom pen makers will sell a pen for $200. So bear in mind that this is gold plated as well, and it's 24 karat gold. Then I think that in itself is quite a good thing. So I have that one inked up this week, and then another one I have inked up is the Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog, and this I have inked up. I love writing with this, or loved writing with this, and I decided I needed to ink it back up again. So this has a 23 karat palladium fine nib, but this just writes exquisitely well, and I have to say that I am loving writing with this again. Having it inked up. So for me, this is a really nice pen. It's a power vac filler. You've got a hook safe lock mechanism there, quarter of a turn. You've got a double reservoir as well. It just ticks all of the boxes for me in terms of a pen. And then another weighty pen I have is this one inked up. and this is the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico, and this is just in the red marble. So this is a solid silver, aged silver look. So you have the solid silver cap here. You have a solid silver section, solid silver power vac knob, and a solid marble pen. So this is a hefty pen for sure. It's a power vac, it's a single reservoir. You got the hook safe lock mechanism there with a quarter of a turn. You can post these caps, but it makes it hugely back weighted. It's not something I would want to do, but I do understand that some of you do like posting your caps. So you have that option available if you want to, but honestly, I wouldn't even want to try because it is too heavy a pen, because this cap is solid silver, so it really is a hefty cap. But I have that one inked up with me this week as well. So I think with that, let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen I have inked up this week is the Armando Simoni Bologna Extra in the wild. So I think let's go and do an ink swatch. And you can see here that these ASC nibs are very, very wet writing nibs. And I know some people have actually sent them back or sold them because they are too wet a writer. I personally love them, but that's just me. So this is an ASC Bologna, and it's the extra, and this is in the wild. Now, they don't have any nib width designation, but these typically are a medium nib, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, but honestly, they write more like a Western broad. Now, the ink in here today is Waterman, and it's intense black, which I do like as a black ink. It's a really nice ink. The next pen is the WAHL Eversharp Decoband Oversize in the wild. Now, I've been trying to get more into black inks, so I'll do an ink swatch here. But again, this is another black ink, and again, another super wet writing nib. So this is the WAHL Eversharp, and it's the Decoband, it's the Oversize, and it's in the wild. Again, medium nib, although there's no nib width designation, and it's an 18 cat gold Bock nib. And then the ink in here again is actually Waterman Intense Black. And I've been trying to get really a little bit more into black inks because I don't normally write with them, and so I'm trying to get myself really back into writing with them again, and so that's why I've got two pens inked up this week. The next pen is the Armando Simoni Bologna Extra, and this is in the Arco in the Verde. So we'll do an ink swatch, and I typically have this inked up with this ink when I do ink the pen up. It's a really lovely dark green, and I've not written with this ink for a while now, so I thought I would ink this pen and ink this ink back up again. So this is the ASC Bologna Extra, and it's in the Arco, and it's Verde. And the ink in here is the nib in here, sorry, is a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And the ink in there is Ackerman, and it's Bezuden wood grown. which is a really lovely darker green, mid to dark green ink. The next pen is the Scribo 2 in the Noble Green. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a medium 14 karat gold nib, and it does flex quite a lot. And I do love writing with this. So this is the Scribo 2 in the Noble Green, and it is a medium 14 karat gold nib, and you can just see how much that nib will flex. The ink in here today is Diamine Meadow, which is a lovely green ink. Typically it's a little bit lighter normally, I find, but on this pen it does come out a bit darker. The next pen is the Scribo 2, and this is in the Cardinal Red. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this also is a really wet writing nib. And just double checking actually, because this one does write a little bit more on the broad side, but it is a medium. So this is a Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red. So it is a medium 14 karat gold nib. And then if you want to show, you can just see how wet or how wide that nib is. And then this is inked up with Diamine, and it is Poppy Red, which is a beautiful red ink that I think matches this pen quite nicely. The next pen is a Scribo 3 in the Bologna Blue. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I do find that this actually writes a lot narrower than the two Scribo 2s. And I don't know if it's just this one nib or if Scribo changed to making them a little bit less flexy. But this is the Scribo 3 in the Bologna Blue. It is a medium, and it is a 14 karat gold nib. I was actually tempted to get an 18 karat gold on here, but I didn't. But you can still see it has quite some flex to that nib, but not quite as much as maybe the other two. Now the ink in here is Diamine Azure Blue, which is a beautiful, really sort of darker blue ink. The next pen is the Magna Carta, and this is the Oxford. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, when I bought this, because I knew that Hiron had said that they had just swapped from using Bock nibs to their own internal made steel nibs. So I wasn't really too sure what size to go for, so I decided I'd go for a medium. That typically tends to be my go-to nib if I'm not sure. So this is the Magna Carta, and it's the Oxford. And this is a medium, and it's a steel nib, an in-house nib. Now it doesn't have a lot of line variation to it, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. The ink in here today is a Diamine Oxblood, which is an ink that I haven't used a lot, which I'm starting to use a lot more now. The next pen is the Magna Carta, and this is the Cambridge Limited Edition. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you can see here that I wasn't sure what ink to pair this up with, and I wanted a bright green ink, so I decided I would put bright green ink in this pen. So this is the Magna Carta, but this is the Cambridge, and it's the limited edition. Now, I did get a broad nib on this one, and again, it is a steel nib. Now, in terms of line variation, you're not going to get a lot there either, because it's a steel nib. But the ink in here today is a Diamine, and it's Apple Glory, which is a beautiful apple, golden, delicious colour ink. The next pen is the Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a fine nib, so it is fairly wet for a fine nib, but it is fine nevertheless. So this is a Visconti Homo Sapiens, and it's the London Fog. So this is a fine, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot, Owashizuku, and it's Konpeki, which is a beautiful cerulean blue that I like a lot. And then the last pen here is this one, and it's a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I used to have this inked up with Visconti Bordeaux, which I found was a very dark red ink. And I wanted to try a different ink, and I just tried this ink out of, I don't know if it was pure frustration or not, but it was just, I wanted a lighter red, and I looked at Diamine Poppy Red, Diamine Wild Strawberry, and I thought, wow, it doesn't really match with this. And I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to try this ink. And I know even though it doesn't match, I like it a lot. And I've had it inked up with this ink ever since when I decide to ink up this pen. So this is a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico. And it's just the red marble version. It's a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is shock horror. It's not a red ink. It's Pelican Edelstein Star Ruby, which, although that is a pink ink, I am really loving not only the ink, but how that nib writes as well. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. So we have an Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra Wild in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Waterman Intense Black. We have a WAHL Eversharp, and this is the Decoband Oversize in a wild in a medium 18 karat gold nib, again inked up with Waterman Intense Black. We have an Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra Arco Verde in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Ackerman Bazurden Woodgrown. We have a Scribo 2 in the Noble Green in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Meadow. We have another Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. And then we have a Scribo 3 in the Bologna Blue in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Azure Blue. And these are the flex nibs, the extra flexibile nibs. And you can just see the amount of line variation that these nibs provide. The next pen is a Magna Carta Oxford in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Oxblood. We have another Magna Carta, but this is a Cambridge limited edition in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Apple Glory. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog in a fine 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki. And then last but not least, we have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in a medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Pelican Edelstein Star Ruby. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.